The world had changed long ago. The skies were no longer free, and the stars were no longer a place of hope. For nearly 50 years, Earth had lived under the rule of the Zareth Dominion, a powerful alien empire that had arrived with shining warships and strange technology far beyond anything humans had ever seen. The Zareth saw humanity as nothing more than a resource. They took control of every major city, every factory, and every means of power. They banned humans from building advanced machines, weapons, or spaceships. Their fleets hovered silently above the planet, watching, ready to strike if anyone dared to resist. To the Zareth, humans were weak. They believed humans were disorganized, too emotional, too unpredictable to ever pose a threat. "Let them work," the alien overseers would say in their cold, metallic voices. "They will never rise. They will never fight." Captain Elias. Ward had grown up in this broken world. As a child, he had heard stories of Earth before the occupation, when humans had walked on the moon, sent probes across the solar system, and dreamed of reaching the stars. But those dreams had died when the Zareth came. Elias worked as an engineer, repairing machines in the massive energy facilities controlled by the aliens. He kept his head down, obeyed orders, and spoke little. But inside, a fire burned. He hated what had happened to his people. He hated seeing Earth's pride taken away. And most of all, he hated that no one seemed ready to fight back. One day, while working in the mountains far from any city, Elias discovered something strange. Hidden deep beneath the ground, inside a sealed bunker, he found the remains of old Terran war technology, forgotten weapons and vehicles from a time before the invasion. Dust covered everything, but the machines were still there, silent and waiting. As Elias explored the bunker, he felt his heart race. "We were not always weak," he whispered to himself. "We once had power. We once had courage." For weeks, he returned to the bunker in secret, studying the machines. He realized that with some repairs, they could still work. And if they worked, humanity would finally have a chance to fight. But Elias knew he could not do it alone. Quietly, he began to search for allies, people who still believed Earth could be free. He found Dr. Aisha Rao, a brilliant scientist who had been forced to work for the Zareth, repairing alien machines. She had always hated them, but had no way to resist. When Elias showed her the bunker, her eyes lit up for the first time in years. This could change everything," she said softly. They also found Marcus Kane, a former soldier who had fought against the Zareth during the first days of invasion. Marcus had lost many friends in the war, but his spirit had never been broken. When Elias told him about the bunker, Marcus simply smiled and said, "It's about time we reminded them what humans are made of." Slowly, their group began to grow. Farmers, workers, scientists, and former soldiers all came together in secret. They repaired the old weapons, studied alien technology, and planned for the day when humans would finally strike back. But the Zareth were not blind. In the cities, their patrols grew harsher. Anyone suspected of rebellion was taken away, never to be seen again. The alien commander, Valor Kesh, ordered stricter control, convinced that a small group of troublemakers was behind the recent acts of defiance. Still, Elias and his allies continued. They knew the risks. They knew that if they were caught, it would mean the end. But none of them cared. They were tired of living in fear. One night, as Elias looked up at the stars, he clenched his fists and made a promise. "We were born to explore the stars," he said quietly, "not to serve as slaves on our own planet. They think we are weak. They think we will never fight. But soon, they will learn how wrong they are." In that moment, the fire of rebellion burned brighter than ever. Humanity's long night was ending. The first sparks of freedom had begun to glow, hidden but unstoppable. The Zareth had ruled Earth for decades, but the day was coming. The day when humans would finally fight back. Weeks passed as Elias, Dr. Rao, Marcus, and their small group worked in secret. The old Terran machines were slowly coming back to life. The sound of engines, silent for decades, now echoed in the underground bunker. Each repaired weapon felt like a piece of Earth's forgotten pride being restored. But Elias knew they needed more than just weapons. They needed a first strike, something that would give hope to every human and show the Zareth that Earth would not remain silent anymore. Dr. Rao studied the bunker's systems carefully. "There is something here, something bigger than we thought," she said one evening, pointing to an old control panel covered in dust. Elias wiped the screen clean. It displayed a diagram of a massive orbital defense cannon, a weapon built in secret during the early days of the invasion, but never used. "It was meant to protect Earth," Marcus said quietly, staring at the diagram. "But we never had the chance." Elias felt a surge of determination. "Then we will give it that chance now." Repairing the cannon was not easy. The weapon had been buried deep beneath the mountains, connected to ancient power systems that had not been used in decades. But Dr. Rao and her team of engineers worked day and night. Sparks flew, metal rang, and slowly, the weapon came back, to life. Meanwhile, the Zareth had noticed strange energy readings from the mountains. Commander Vylor Kesh was growing impatient. "Humans are simple creatures," he said coldly to his officers. "But they are unpredictable. If there is even a chance of rebellion, crush it completely." Patrol ships began scanning the mountains more frequently. Elias and his group worked under constant fear of discovery. They used decoys, false energy signals, and underground tunnels to keep the aliens away from the real location. At last, the day came. The cannon was ready. Elias gathered the group around. "We have been waiting our whole lives for this moment," he said firmly. "When this cannon fires, the entire world will know that Earth has not given up. We will send a message to the Zareth that we will never bow again." That night, a Zareth patrol ship flew low over the mountains, scanning for any signs of rebellion. Inside the bunker, Elias stood at the control panel. His hands trembled, but his voice was steady. "Powering up," Dr. Rao said. The ancient system hummed to life. Warning lights flashed. The cannon aimed itself toward the patrol ship high. "Above! Fire!" Elias ordered. A blinding beam of light shot from the mountain and struck the alien ship. For a second, the ship glowed red, and then it exploded in a ball of fire. The sound echoed through the night sky. For the first time in 50 years, humans had destroyed a Zareth warship. Inside cities and villages across Earth, people looked up at the glowing streak in the sky. Whispers spread. "Did you see that? Was that us?" Elias stared at the sky, his chest rising with pride. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. The news spread like wildfire. In hidden camps and factories and quiet homes, humans felt hope for the first time in years. The impossible had happened. The Zareth could be beaten. But the aliens were furious. Commander Vylor Kesh watched the destruction of the patrol ship with cold anger. "Find who did this," he ordered. "Burn every hiding place. Tear apart every city if you must. Crush this rebellion before it grows." Zareth fleets began to prepare for a massive retaliation. More warships entered Earth's orbit, their weapons ready. Elias and his allies knew what was coming. "They will strike. Back harder than ever," Marcus said grimly. Elias nodded. "Let them. We are done being afraid." He looked at his team. "This victory will give people courage. They will join us. And when they do, we will show the Zareth that humanity is not weak. We will show them that Earth is not theirs to rule." Away in the dark cities under alien control, people began forming secret groups. Farmers hid stolen parts. Workers sabotaged alien machinery. Small acts of resistance began to grow everywhere. The fire of rebellion was spreading. For the first time in half a century, humans felt alive again, and the Zareth Dominion, once so sure of their control, began to realize a truth they had never considered. The humans were no longer afraid. The destruction of the Zareth patrol ship sent shockwaves across Earth. For the first time in decades, people whispered words they had long forgotten: freedom, courage, hope. But hope alone was not enough. Elias, Dr. Rao, and Marcus knew that the Zareth would return in greater numbers. They needed more than one victory. They needed a plan to outsmart an empire that had ruled the stars for thousands of years. Dr. Rao gathered the group inside the underground bunker. "The Zareth are strong, but they are predictable," she explained, pointing to a glowing screen filled with alien code. "Their machines depend on logic-based systems. They calculate everything perfectly. But humans—" She looked at Elias and smiled slightly. "Humans are different. We are unpredictable. Our thinking is not something their machines can easily understand." Elias frowned. "So you are saying we can outthink them?" "Exactly," Dr. Rao replied. "We don't have their numbers, we don't have their ships, but we have something they don't: imagination. We can fight in ways they cannot expect." Marcus leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Then we need to hit them where it hurts. Not just one ship. We destroy their supply lines, their communication systems, anything that keeps their fleets running." Over the next weeks, the rebels worked in secret to create weapons the Zareth had never seen before. They salvaged alien parts from crashed ships, mixed them with human technology, and built stealth fighters, small, fast ships that could attack and vanish before the aliens knew what happened. Elias trained new pilots, teaching them daring maneuvers that no Zareth machine could predict. "We do not fight like them," he told his team. "We fight like humans, fast, creative, and fearless." The first mission was dangerous. A Zareth transport convoy was carrying supplies from orbit to a ground base. Elias and a small team of pilots launched their stealth fighters from a hidden mountain runway. High above Earth, the stars shone cold and distant. Elias's hands gripped the controls as his ship soared silently through the night sky. "Targets. Ahead," Dr. Rao's voice came through the comms. "Remember, strike fast. They won't know what hit them." The human fighters appeared out of nowhere, their engines silent until the very last second. Missiles streaked through space, slamming into the alien transports. One ship exploded, then another. The convoy scattered, but the humans were too fast. In minutes, the entire convoy was gone. Not a single human ship was lost. The attack was unlike anything the Zareth had ever seen. Their computers could not predict human maneuvers. Their patrol ships could not react fast enough. Commander Valor Kesh studied the battle reports with cold frustration. "This is impossible," he hissed. "They fight without logic. They take risks no sane being would take. It makes no sense." One of his officers spoke nervously. "Commander, perhaps that is why we cannot stop them. They are different." Valor Kesh turned sharply. "Then we will learn to crush their difference. Prepare the dreadnought. If humans wish for war, they will see true power." Back on Earth, Elias stood with his team, watching the burning debris of the convoy fall like shooting stars. He felt pride, but also fear. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The Zareth will not forgive us for this." Marcus stepped forward. "Good. Let them come. The more they fight us, the stronger we become. People are joining us every day. They see that we can win." Dr. Rao placed a hand on the console. "We can win," she agreed. "But we need more. We need the entire planet united. And we need to be ready for what they will send next." Across Earth, small resistance groups grew larger. Farmers, workers, scientists, and soldiers All began to fight in their own ways, sabotaging alien machinery, stealing supplies, and spreading information. The Terran Liberation Front was no longer just a handful of rebels. It was becoming an army. Far above the planet, in the darkness of space, massive shadows moved, Zareth warships gathering for a counterattack. But for the first time in 50 years, the aliens were not confident. The humans had shown them something no other species ever had: courage that defied logic. And the galaxy was starting to take notice. The night sky above Earth was no longer quiet. Alien warships glowed like distant stars, forming a massive fleet ready for battle. At the center of it all was the Zareth Dreadnought, a colossal ship so powerful that one strike could destroy an entire city. Commander Valor Kesh stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought, his cold eyes fixed on Earth. "This rebellion will end tonight," he said. "When humans see their cities burn, they will remember their place." On the ground, Elias and his team watched the alien fleet gather. The holographic map inside the bunker showed hundreds of ships moving toward Earth. Marcus stared at the map, his jaw tight. "That thing is huge. If it fires, we lose everything." Dr. Rao nodded grimly. "The Dreadnought has a power core unlike anything we've ever seen. Its shields are almost impossible to break. If we attack from outside, we'll fail." Elias looked at both of them. "Then we don't attack from outside. We get inside." Everyone in the room turned to him in shock. "Inside?" Marcus asked. "Yes," Elias said firmly. "A small team boards the Dreadnought, sabotages the power core, and destroys it from within. It's the only way." There was silence. Everyone knew what such a mission meant. It was almost certain death. Marcus stepped forward. "I'll lead the team." Elias shook his head. "It's too dangerous." Marcus gave a small smile. "That's why I should go. I've fought them longer than anyone here. If someone has to do this, it should be me." Elias stared at him, then slowly nodded. "All right, but you won't go alone." That night, a small strike team boarded a stealth fighter. Marcus led them with 2 skilled pilots and 3 engineers carrying explosives. Their mission was simple but deadly: get inside the Dreadnought, plant the charges, and destroy its power core. As the stealth fighter flew toward the massive ship, Elias and Dr. Rao watched from the bunker. "Good luck, Marcus," Elias whispered. The team slipped past the alien defenses and landed inside one of the Dreadnought's hangars. Marcus gave hand signals to the team, and they moved silently through. The dark metallic halls, every sound echoed like thunder. Alien patrols marched nearby, their strange weapons glowing faintly. The team avoided detection, creeping closer to the heart of the ship. Finally, they reached the power core chamber. The sight was breathtaking, a swirling sphere of energy, glowing with a terrifying light. "This is it," Marcus whispered. "Plant the charges!" The engineers worked quickly, setting explosives around the core. But just as they finished, alarms blared. Zareth soldiers appeared from every doorway, weapons ready. "Go!" Marcus shouted. "Finish the mission!" The engineers ran toward the exit while Marcus and the 2 pilots held the aliens back. Blaster fire lit up the room. Marcus fought with everything he had, moving faster than the aliens expected. When the last engineer reached safety, Marcus looked at the charges, then at the aliens closing in. He pressed the detonator. A blinding light filled the chamber. From Earth, Elias and Dr. Rao saw the Dreadnought suddenly erupt in a massive explosion. The shockwave rippled through space, scattering nearby alien ships. The room was silent for a moment. Then cheers erupted. "They did it," Dr. Rao whispered, tears in her eyes. Elias stood still, his chest heavy. "Marcus, you did it." The destruction of the Dreadnought shocked the entire Zareth Dominion. Never before had one of their most powerful war machines been destroyed by a species they considered weak. Across Earth, people cheered as they saw the burning remains of the ship falling through the sky like fiery comets. Hope was no longer just a dream. Humanity had shown that they could fight and win. But for the Zareth, it was more than just defeat. For the first time, they felt something new when thinking of humans: fear. The sky above Earth burned with the light of battle. The destruction of the dreadnought had shaken the Zareth, but they were far from defeated. Their fleet still hovered like dark clouds, ready to strike back with all their power. Elias stood on a hill overlooking a valley where a huge alien base had been built. The wind whispered through the grass, but his heart thundered with the coming fight. "This is our moment," he said quietly to Dr. Rao and Marcus. "If we lose now, everything we fought for will be gone. But if we win, Earth will be free." Marcus nodded. "We've prepared for this. The people are ready." Dr. Rao checked the weapon systems one last time. "The stealth fighters will lead the attack. We've also developed EMP grenades that can disable their machines. It's time." Across the planet, millions of humans watched the skies. From hidden bunkers, secret bases, and even cities still under alien control, people waited for the first sign of rebellion. The Terran Liberation Front had become a symbol of hope. No longer just a small group, it was an army united by a single purpose: freedom. The first wave of human fighters soared into the sky, cutting through the clouds with silent engines. They moved fast and smart, avoiding alien patrols and striking weak points in the Zareth defenses. Explosions lit up the night as the battle began. The humans fought with a mix of courage and creativity, using every trick they had learned. EMP. Grenades disabled alien machines, stealth fighters darted through enemy lines, and ground forces sabotaged supply routes. Commander Valor Kesh watched the fight from his flagship, his face dark with anger. "They will pay for this," he roared. But something was different. The humans were no longer afraid. They fought as one, moving faster than the Zareth expected. In the heart of the battle, Elias led a squad to destroy the main power hub controlling the alien base's defenses. They moved quietly through tunnels and corridors, avoiding patrols with skill and patience. When they reached the power hub, Marcus set charges while Elias and the others kept watch. Just as the explosives were armed, an alarm blared. Alien soldiers poured into the room, weapons ready. "Hold them off!" Elias shouted. The fight was fierce. Every moment counted. The humans held their ground, pushing back the aliens with determination. With a final blast, the explosives detonated. The power hub exploded in a shower of sparks and flames. Alien defenses went dark. "Now!" Elias called to the pilots. The human fighters moved in quickly, striking the alien base with everything they had. Ships exploded, shields shattered, and the Zareth forces began to retreat. Across the planet, the tide of battle turned. Humans fought bravely everywhere, on the ground, in the sky, and even in space. Commander Valor Kesh realized his empire was losing its grip. "Retreat!" he ordered, but his voice was filled with doubt. The humans were winning. As the sun rose over Earth, the last of the Zareth ships fled into space. The skies grew quiet again, but this time it was different. It was a silence filled with hope, not fear. Elias stood with his team looking at the rising sun. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We have won the battle, but the war for our future has just started." Dr. Rao smiled. "We've shown them that humans are strong, united, and ready to protect their home." Marcus looked up at the sky. "The Zareth will think twice before returning, and we will be ready." Around the world, people celebrated. Songs were sung, flags waved, and children dreamed of a future where Earth was free. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and come back stronger than ever. The great human stand had begun, and the stars were waiting.